Could the Vikings be making some big-time changes before their Week 9 matchup versus the Colts? We're going to talk about it on today's show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chad Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and even though the Vikings lost last Thursday night, I woke up with a little bit of a smile on my face, and that is because of my man Matt Eberflus yesterday during the Bears game. If you guys missed it, I'm sure most of you guys saw, but the Bears lost on a last-second Hail Mary to the Washington Commanders in an absolute great game, must-watch TV. But shout out to Matt Eberflus, a poorly coached team in Chicago ends up getting bitten in the end. And actually, this play kept the Vikings out of last place in the NFC North. The Lions absolutely steamrolled the Titans yesterday. Packers won on another last-second field goal. I swear that's their third at least this season. And the Vikings are obviously third right now, and then the Bears are still in fourth place. But if they would have won yesterday, they would have been in third place in the NFC North. And before we dive into it, I kind of want to rub it in Bears fans a little bit. We're in a sub-battle right now with our Bears Now channel here at Chat Sports. They have over 100,000 subscribers here. So if you guys want to help me out, help us kind of close that deficit a little bit, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a thing around your favorite football team. And let's dive into today's show. So I want everybody to take a step back and just relax real quick. There has been so much negativity from Vikings fans over the past couple of days following their loss to the Rams on Thursday Night Football. I think the Vikings are fine. Now, do I think the Vikings can go win a Super Bowl this year? Probably not. But I look around the NFC, and I say this with full confidence. I think the Vikings are still the second best team in that conference. I still think they're better than the Packers. I think they're better than the Commanders, better than the Eagles. I really don't know who would be the second best team besides them. You can make an argument for the Packers, but even them this past week, they were kind of messing around with the Jags in Jacksonville. And I understand the last 2 weeks have been ugly. But you look at this game versus the Lions and watching what they just did to the Titans this past Sunday, the Vikings have played the Lions better than any single team this year. They should have won that football game. And then you were in a terrible spot, short week, traveling on the road to Los Angeles. And we know the stats about the Lions hangover of no team has won the week after they played the Lions. And honestly, most teams have been getting boat raced in those games. So that was a tough spot. You had some awful awful penalties go against you right there. But I'm overall not really too worried. But there are some stuff I think the Vikings should change. And the number one thing would be figuring out the left tackle position. Obviously, terrible news. Christian Darrisaw, torn ACL, torn MCL. You know, he probably won't even be ready for week 1 of next season. But, I mean, having to replace Darrisaw, you're not going to be able to do it. But I actually think the Vikings have a solid plan in place right now. And that plan will be Blake Brandel, new starting left tackle, was originally a left guard for the Vikings. He'll play there. But then you're also going to have to put in Dalton Risner. He's going to play left guard. So, obviously, this offensive line does take a hit. But you're getting Hawk back. You're getting Cashman back. Like, this Vikings team is still fairly healthy. I don't think the kind of house is falling apart right now, which a lot of people think it is. And there are some free agent options out there. I mean, how about former Packers legend David Bakhtiari? He's still a free agent. He did play in obviously very limited snaps this past season in 2023, but still very productive. I mean, an 89.9 pass block grade, 68.6 run block grade, 78.3 overall. He could be a good option if this experiment kind of falls apart here. But overall, I actually like the offensive line the way they have it right now. Obviously, you don't have the star in Darrisaw, so you're going to have to adjust. But, you know, I think the continuity, all 5 of these guys have played with each other for a while. I think they'll be able to kind of, you know, get some sort of mediocre to good production out of this group. But another way you could do that, how about you stop putting a lot of pressure on the run game? Add a quick passing game. This has drove me crazy this entire season. Like the Vikings just too often, 1st and 10, it's inside zone. Or if they do go play action, they're trying to take the top off the defense. And this is my biggest problem with Kevin O'Connell this year, is that there has been no quick game. Like, I watched the Rams Thursday night versus the Vikings. If they're stacking the box, it's a quick out to Puka. It's a quick out to Cooper Kupp. Just get, Darnold or Stafford in rhythm. You get the receivers involved early, and we'll talk about getting a specific receiver involved here in a little bit. But the Vikings wide receivers, they're too talented to just not get more touches. Like, Jefferson, I want him getting 12, 15 targets. I want Addison getting 10 to 12 targets a game, and you can do that by just getting the ball out fast, getting them the ball in space, and having them make the plays. And it gets me to this. Be self-aware. Like, I have been pounding the table. The Vikings need to get a running game. The Vikings need to be a more physical football team. That's just not where the strengths are on this roster. The strengths are on the outside. They are your weapons. You have Darnold playing at a very, very high level this season. Lean into that. Get the quick pass game going. Get Jefferson the football more. Now with Hot coming back, like you could just go drop back on first and second down every single time, pick up 4 or 5, have that be the kind of makeshift run game for this football team. But I want to see a quick passing game. Obviously no Darrisaw. You're not going to have the protection you once had. So get, more productive plays on first and second downs in a different way besides just these deep play actions and just these inside zones. Clearly it's not working. And also, you could throw Aaron Jones a football. Like if you really want to get him his touches, split him out wide. Have him go one-on-one with a linebacker, either run a hitch or go run a streak down the field. There are other ways, to get these guys involved. And speaking of a guy that just needs to get involved, free 3. So if you guys didn't see, this past Friday or Saturday, Jordan Addison posted on his Instagram story a pretty cryptic message, and it said free 3. And then a bunch of people were like, oh, Jordan Addison's requesting a trade. He doesn't like being here, yada, yada, yada. That's not what he's doing. He's saying get him the football. And plus, he also had this kind of motto, even dating back to when he was at USC, like free 3, like, hey, let's get him the football. He's too talented. This is something I've been talking about. But I agree with Addison. Like, I think the Vikings offense looked their best this season in that first half versus the Packers. And that's when this guy was a huge focal point. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. You got him the ball in a jet sweep. You had him ran that little stop and go, and it was a wide open touchdown. Like, he is just too damn talented to not get the damn football. And the fact, this man's only got 23 targets in 5 games. That's a joke. Like, this should be up to probably 45, 50 targets by now, averaging around 10 a game. It's just not even close to that, man. Only 231 yards, 14 receptions. Yes, he is that deep play threat. Like, I'd love to see that, but he's only got 1 touchdown through the air. He needs to get the football more. That's on Kevin O'Connell. There are countless plays that have kind of gone semi-viral on Vikings Twitter where Addison's just wide open, and maybe that's a Darnold thing, him not looking his way more, but, it would take a lot of pressure off Addison or off Jefferson, off Aaron Jones. Get number 3, the football. And if you guys want to see it this weekend versus the Colts, Sunday Night Football, what better time to make Jordan Addison happier than you have him, on a 102 touchdown game this weekend? Give me a free 3 down below in the comment section. I'm with Addison on this. He needs to get the football more, so show him your support and give me a free 3 in the comments. Now, we'll dive into more changes here in a second, but first, I got to give a massive shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you guys download the Game Time app, plug in promo code CHATSPORTS, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, again, but create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Now, Game Time, they have a sweet new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. If you guys want to see the Vikes take on the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday night at US Bank Stadium, download the Game Time app, give them a look, and you can also look at the views from your seat before you even buy a ticket. It gets you a panoramic view from whatever seat you are choosing in the app before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's show. Number 4 for me would be trade for a defensive tackle / cornerback. Now, I would love to see the Vikings go all in on a Jeffrey Simmons or one of these big-time names, but I will say this. I do think the Vikings should stay put at the NFL trade deadline. Your draft capital over the next couple of years is already very limited. Trading up for JJ, then trading up again to go get Dallas Turner, who, by the way, just does not play football for this team. That is another very disappointing part. But I think the Vikings should stay put. I'm not going all in at the deadline. I would love to get up here and say, yes, I'm giving my first for Jeffrey Simmons. Yes, I'm giving my first for a guy like J.C. Horn. And J.C. Horn would be a great pickup because I really thought the Vikings cornerbacks this past week and over the past couple of weeks have been struggling. Like Gilmore, Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, they've been getting killed in one-on-one opportunities. You got one of the best young and up-and-coming corners in the league. JC, go get him in. I would throw a first rounder for him, no doubt about it. But there's really only 2 guys I would give up our first for. It would be J.C. Horn and Jeffrey Simmons. I do think, Quinnen Williams, Dexter Lawrence are just off the table at this point. And then also DJ Reed, I'd be in on throwing a first for him. I think he's one of the most underrated CBs we have in the National Football League. But Jeffrey Simmons, J.C. Horn, DJ Reed, only guys I'm giving up a first-round pick for. But I do expect the Vikings make some sort of a move at the defensive tackle spot or at the cornerback position. And, we're kind of talking about it already, but it's time to adjust if you're this Vikings coaching staff, because I felt like the Vikings were winning games early on because of their scheme, because of their coaching staff, and clearly the league has, shifted and they have adjusted. So now it's time for you to adjust back. And I'm looking at Flores. Like, the Vikings in DVOA over the first 5 weeks of the season were number 1 in the National Football League. Over the last 2 weeks, the Rams and Lions, they actually have the Vikings last in that stat. So that's concerning over Flo. I think he's just, over the last 2 weeks, kind of been too stuck in his own and not willing to adjust. But now that's that time. I mean, the Colts, Shane Steichen, that's another elite offensive play caller, just like Ben Johnson, just like Sean McVay. And in that Lions game, it was just easy for the Detroit. I understand they have an elite offense. They're dropping 40 points a game, but you just expected more from this unit. And obviously, once Cashman comes back, he's the guy that wears that green dot. I think he'll help that situation a whole lot more. But you need to adjust. You need to, make some sort of change where it's not just the same MO. Maybe you get rid of the 3-man rush that they always do on 3rd and longs. They got killed against the Rams, with that move. And, especially against that Rams game, I thought Kevin O'Connell failed to adjust. Clearly the Rams defensive line was absolutely dominating the Vikes O-line in that game. Get a quick pass game. Get the run game going somehow. You got to be able to adjust in the NFL, because it just took one game plan from Ben Johnson to kind of get the blueprint out on how you beat this Vikings defense. A lot of other teams don't have the personnel to do so, but when you go against elite talent, like with the Rams, like with the Lions, you can get beat. So I think the coach staff, they're going to need to adjust. But if they do all those things, I still really do believe this team could be in the NFC Championship game. So if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a SKOL down below in the comment section. Want to see where all the real ones are at. And just thank you guys so much for watching. And also, I am on Twitter or X at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. But we'll see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes.